Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. This week it's time to fulfill the video requests from my lovely patrons, and this time around I think Konami decided to pull a funny prank and put their thumb on the scales this time around. See, ninjas have been on the list for a few months, but with the recent and very unexpected wave of support releasing in Darkwing Blast, this has become an oddly prescient topic. Now, when the first ninja card was released in Legend of Blue Eyes, you'd be completely correct in assuming it was just another card that had a very aggressive profession, but was otherwise just a standalone monster. Like, you wouldn't look at Furious Sea King and say, ah yes, the Sea King archetype, that's going to be big soon. And for a while, they were largely tied together by having similar mechanics, but didn't actually work together. Fuma Shuriken could only equip to ninja monsters, but come on, ninjas use shurikens, that's not indicative of an archetype, that's just science. But eventually, Ninjitsu Art of Transformation came out and required you to run ninja monsters for an admittedly pretty sweet effect. Then Senior Silver Ninja started summoning multiple ninjas, and we had to begin reconciling the fact that these stealthy shinobi were no longer independent contractors. They worked as a cell. So now that I've tempted fate again, it's time to fulfill my sworn duty to my patrons and deliver unto them the knowledge of the ninja's secret techniques. We'll pore over the records to identify their inconspicuous identities, learn the art of ninjutsu, then see what other initiates can join them in the shadows. It's time to get the drop on our opponents with ninjas. Believe it! Okay, I'm sorry I had to get one Naruto joke in. But before we continue, a quick reminder to please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content so far. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and there's no better way to get there than on our dual runners. Our next stop is 40k, which means Leo and Luna Explained, where we'll be covering Ancient Fairy Dragon's companions, the Power Tool Dragons, Morphtronics, and any other cards that are more than meets the eye. We also have a Discord, where the ascension is nigh. I also have a Twitch where you can join me for viewer duels, progression pulls, and chaos draft pulls for the foreseeable future. And don't forget about my Patreon, where you can gain access to my videos early, reach some of these milestones, as well as helping to determine which videos I make. Thank you all so much for watching, and now, back to the video. So what's the deal with ninjas? Well, I wish I could say that despite everything, they're all warriors, but they're not. Many of them dive into dragon, beast, even dinosaur typing. And that's not counting all the monsters and unrelated themes that have ninjas in them, but don't really contribute to our theming. Or rather, themes, since ninjas are all over the place. So if a ninja is part of another archetype, namely these ones, we aren't covering them here. Heck, most of them have explained videos already, so that means you can sate your need for more ninja nonsense, and I get more watch time. It's a win-win. Oh, and I'm also not covering the Ninja Mosquito cards from Animation Chronicles 2022. Yes, it has an associated ninjitsu art card, but it only works with insects, and we only have one of those. Now, when we get to numbers explained, get back to me then and we'll talk. Another odd quirk about ninjas is, much like Red Eyes, is that they've been around for so long and have had so many different waves of support that they have a lot of cards, but none of them really took the reins to really solidify what the ninja game plan really is. Some seek to emulate the sneak and surprise element of the ninja by being flip monsters, or having effects when flipped face up. Others lean into the power of ninjutsu to accomplish strange and powerful feats. Some focus on Xyz summoning, while others have odd utility effects just for the fun of it. So I'll be organizing these ninjas into categories as best I can, so we can see what different kinds of playstyles we can mess around with. Part 1. Flip. First, we'll cover the explicitly flip ninja monsters so we can get them out of the way. First is Armed Ninja, a level 1 Earth Warrior monster with 300 attack and defense, and its flip effect targets a spell card on the field and destroys it. Now, normally you'd only be able to activate this by targeting a face-up spell since it specifies that, but this is an old card, like old, so you can target a set back row and reveal it, and destroy it if it is a spell card. Otherwise, you just put it back and you get to know what your opponent is hiding. That is, well, appropriate for the time, I'll give it that. Back row removal wasn't exactly easy to get a hold of, and somebody had to get rid of all those chain energies and messengers of peace. So, despite how monumentally useless it is nowadays, for the time, this ninja was armed and ready. Crimson Ninja is a level 1 Earth Warrior monster with 300 attack and defense, and its flip effect is the same as Armed Ninja, but this goes after trap cards, not spells. Well, I don't have any extra notes on this one, though I guess trap cards are more likely to be set than spells, so this probably has a better chance of resolving beyond just learning your opponent's back row. So I suppose in this little game of red versus blue, the Reds have it. White Ninja is a level 4 light warrior monster with 1500 attack and 800 defense, and this card's flip effect targets a defense position monster on the field and destroys it. Now this is a bit more helpful. Face up or face down, this monster can take any monster hiding from your attacks and wipe it out, no questions asked. Though it's not going to be much help in defeating whatever runs White Ninja over in battle, unless it's fighting their sworn enemy, Super Heavy Samurais. Part 2. General. This section will cover any ninja that doesn't really fall into our future categories, either because they don't have anything to do with ninjas proper, or are so generically useful that you kinda want to plug them into anything. Which includes the Grandmasters, because while we have 3 of them, I don't think they have enough going on to be considered their own section. Strike Ninja is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1200 defense, and as a quick effect you can banish 2 dark monsters from your grave to banish this card face up until the end phase. Now what I find funny about this is that we don't see another Dark Ninja monster until Grandmaster Hanzo gets released several years later, so there was no way you were rocking any kind of dedicated ninja deck alongside the currently available flip ones. However, it was a solid pick in early Yu-Gi-Oh decks that focused on dark monsters as a low-to-the-ground aggressive monster that could dodge things like Torrential Tribute or targeted removal by hopping out of this game for just a bit. Probably to go get a few more rounds of Dungeon Dice monsters in. When are we getting that revival? Seriously, they spent all this time developing, testing, and promoting cross duels, but you could just make a digital client for Dungeon Dice monsters, come on! And while we're on the subject of Strike Ninja, let's talk about their signature weapon, Fuma Shuriken, an equip card that can only equip to a ninja monster. The equipped monster gains 700 attack, and when this card is sent from the field to the grave, you inflict 700 damage to your opponent, making this effectively a bigger black pendant, by 200 points in each regard. It doesn't do anything else special, though 700 attack is not an insubstantial bonus. However, its non-searchable status and lack of utility will keep this in the back of the Anime Con weapons bargain bin for quite some time. Though, to be honest, after talking about Fuma Shuriken, I'm way more invested in talking about Black Pendant. Like, does anyone else remember playing the old GBA games and feeling like this was the best equip card ever? Like, 500 attack was a lot, and on top of that, it punished your opponent for getting rid of it, or how scary it was to fight against for the same reason. But you could pull off some cool moves like equipping it to Cybertech Alligator, then trading with Blue Eyes and still dealing 500 damage? No? Just me? Okay. Senior Silver Ninja is a level 6 Earth Warrior monster with 2300 attack and 2200 defense. When this card is flipped face up, you can special summon any number of ninja monsters, except another copy of itself, from your hand and or grave in face down defense position. And there can only be one face up Senior Silver Ninja on the field. And that is a lot of value. As more ninjas get printed, the more options you'll have, and filling your field with 4 more monsters off a single effect activation can lead to a huge blowout. The problem is that it's a level 6 monster with an effect that activates when flipped. Not a flip monster, which we could totally have leveraged with some other effects, it just triggers when flipped. But as we'll find with the new Darkwing Blast ninjas, it's never been easier to throw this onto the board and then get it flipped up later so we can get a huge wave of ninjas on our side. At which point you can link it off, revive it face down again later, and then do the whole thing over again. So while it might not look like much on the surface, and takes a little extra effort to get going, it can be one of the strongest engines in your whole theme. So make sure you respect your elders. Upstart Golden Ninja is a level 4 light warrior monster with 500 attack and 1800 defense, and once per turn you can send a trap card from your hand to the grave to special summon a level 4 or lower ninja monster from your deck in face up or face down defense position. This is a pretty strong extender, as being able to grab your lower level ninjas can lead to some powerful plays. Any other level 4 can be leveraged into a rank 4, and Hanzo will grab another ninja if special summoned, so this turns the even trade into a plus. But yeah, the gold accents really aren't helping with the stealth aspect of the job, and this is coming from the guy who loves gold, so trust me when I say you're going overboard. Yellow Ninja is a level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1900 attack and 1800 defense, and if normal summoned or flipped face up, you can special summon a level 4 or lower ninja monster from your hand in attack or face down defense position. Also, you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except ninja monsters. Now, normally these archetype locks aren't too bad, but the issue is we don't have a lot of extra deck monsters. Counting only cards that belong to us and no other archetype, we've got 2 Xyz, a Link, and recently, a Fusion. So you're locking out what has historically been your best way to win games. Leverage our abilities to gain access to better extra deck monsters. Now, this might change in the future if our extra deck offerings improve, but for now, if you use this, make sure it's at the end of your turn. And seriously, what did we just talk about wearing appropriate colors? What place is Yellow Ninja trying to invade? The Mustard Factory? Green Ninja is a level 2 Wind Warrior monster with 600 attack and defense, and if any number of monsters are special summoned to your field face up, you can target one of them, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change that monster to face down defense position. And if this card is sent from your hand or field to the grave, you can target a monster on the field and change it to face up attack or face down defense position. Now this sounds like an extender on paper, but because it flips the chosen monster face down, you can't use it for Xyz or Link plays. Rather, it's there to set up your ninjas for later, because from that point, if Green Ninja is sent to the grave, you can flip up the monster you set, or flip down a monster your opponent controls to turn their effect off, or make them easier to run over in battle. Honestly, it feels like everything the deck needed, so I'd hardly call them green. Lady Ninja Yai is a level 3 Wind Warrior monster with 1100 attack and 200 defense, and by discarding a wind monster from your hand, you can return all spells and traps your opponent controls to the hand. And that's actually kinda dope. It may not turn wind monsters in your hand into giant Trunades, but it does make them half a Trunade, and that still rules. But, as it turns out, wind isn't an attribute known for its graveyard synergies, so this doesn't really mesh with many decks. Like, pitching Griffin and Gusto is nice, and there's a few Harpy and Speedroids that could benefit from being discarded, but those decks have engines that can accomplish this by themselves. Not many can afford the discard or additional summon to accommodate this effect. But despite the lack of synergy it commands, it does bring to mind the idea of Yai picking up a bird creature and causing a whole whirlwind to explode from him, and I think that's pretty funny. Go-Go, the Gallant Ninja, is a level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1500 attack and 1000 defense, and when this card inflicts battle damage, your opponent discards 2 random cards, but your opponent must have 5 or more cards in their hand free to activate and resolve this effect. This is... wow, that is bad. Like, it discards more than Airbellum, for instance, but it only works when your opponent's hand is either at near or full capacity. How often is this ever the case, even when this card was made? Overall, this is a terrible card, but despite that, you may recognize this noble ninja, and that's because it features on the art of the rather strong continuous trap card, Crackdown. And it's probably on this card because of the cultural figure Go-Go is based on, Ishikawa Goemon, a real Robin Hood-esque character that stole from the rich and gave to the poor, which is probably why your opponent needed to have so many cards in hand to trigger, as it would be a representation of your opponent's wealth. And even if you didn't know all of this beforehand, you may be familiar with the name or design from things like Lupin III, Persona 5, and even another of Konami's games, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Heck, Lady Ninja Yai is even a character in those games, which puts these in the same crossover category of monsters as Gradius. Truly, this is the Super Smash Bros. Of themes. And the mystical ninja callbacks don't end there, because we also have Masked Ninja Ibisu, a level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1200 attack and 1800 defense, and once per turn, if you control a ninja monster other than Ibisu, you can activate this effect. Return a number of your opponent's spells and traps to the hand equal to the number of ninja monsters you control. Also, every face-up Go-Go, the gallant ninja you control, can attack directly this turn. Now, in a vacuum, this is actually kinda cool. This gives you a smaller version of Yai's effect for no discard, and actually works to enable Go-Go's effect, because when you bounce those back row, you're increasing your opponent's hand size, making it large enough to trigger the discard. And Go-Go's 1500 attack stat isn't terrible, so you could end up swinging for 4500 attack if you have all 3. But it's one of those effects that's really good in very specific circumstances. Sure, even without Go-Go, you could summon this off of something like Upstart Golden Ninja, but if you've gotten through the summon of Upstart, activated its effects, and summoned Ibisu, the back row you're looking to get rid of probably wasn't going to hinder you anyway. So, while no one seems to have cared much about Ibisu before they put on the mask, it doesn't look like anyone cared too much afterwards either. Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke is a level 4 light warrior monster with 1800 attack and 1000 defense, and at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a face-up defense position monster, destroy that monster. This made for a really strong way to get around monsters like Spirit Reaper that resisted battle destruction, and was otherwise a really strong normal summon. 1800 was only just shy of monsters like Mechanical Chaser and Gemini Elves. It also didn't hurt that this was a light monster to help meet any chaos requirements. It also really makes me want to do more Naruto jokes, but for now I'm just gonna focus on the helmet. Doesn't it look like Sasuke has a really goofy grin going on? I love it. Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1800 attack and 1000 defense, and when normal summoned, you can add a Ninjitsu Art card from your deck to your hand. And when flip or special summoned, you can add a ninja monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of itself. So, depending on how this is summoned, you can grab another piece of your theme's puzzle, and while we won't be touching on Ninjitsu Arts until the latter half of the video, trust me when I say they're going to play a big part in our theme's success. And since this is a very early Yu-Gi-Oh card, Hanzo lacks any hard once per turn clauses, so if you special summon multiple, you get multiple ninjas. Find yourself with extra normal summons? Well, that's just more Ninjitsu Arts for you. Just be careful because this triggers on flip summon, not from being flipped. Now if only they could bring back scatter arrows, that was my favorite part of Hanzo's kit. Ninja Grandmaster Saizo is a Link 2 Light Warrior Link monster with 2000 attack, requiring 2 ninja monsters as material. During your main phase, you can set a Ninjitsu Arts spell or trap card directly from your deck, and while this card points to any number of monsters, this card cannot be targeted for an attack. Also, your opponent can't target it with card effects. Now this is pretty sweet. You get a free Ninjitsu Art every turn, allowing you to dig deep into your toolbox of effects to solve a variety of situations, and your opponent's gonna find it hard to interact with you while you have other monsters to keep it hidden. It's a little annoying that it needs 2 ninjas specifically, but I suspected that if it was more lenient, like needing warriors for instance, we'd see a whole Isolde situation unfolding before us, and that would be going a bit too size overboard. Part 3. Armor. Like most things in the Zexal era, Ixi summoning became the name of the game, and ninjas were no exception. A new sub-theme, Armor Ninjas, was introduced by way of Kaze, one of the many wielders of the number cards. And for the main deck monsters, we can actually cover them all fairly quickly, because they work very well together. Flame Armor Ninja is a level 4 Fire Warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1000 defense, and when this card is summoned, you can target a ninja monster you control and increase its level by 1. Air Armor Ninja, on the other hand, is a level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1400 attack and defense, and when it's summoned, you can target a ninja monster you control and reduce its level by 1. Both of which pair very well with Earth Armor Ninja, a level 5 Earth Warrior monster with 1600 attack and 1200 defense, and if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. This makes it a Cyber Dragon for our theme, sans the amazing stats. Now, the Xyz ninjas we'll be talking about are rank 4 and 5, so if you summon Earth and use your normal summon on Flame or Air, you can modulate their levels to reach them. Fire can increase itself to 5, while Air can reduce Earth to 4. The only one that doesn't fit this strategy is Aqua Armor Ninja, a level 4 Water Warrior monster with 800 attack and 1600 defense, and when your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, if you have another ninja monster in your grave, you can banish this card from your grave to target the attacking monster and negate that attack. So it's just kinda there to keep you from dying? Yeah, I'll pass up, but really, the rest is a solid core of cards to help get you into some truly heinous Xyz. The interaction might not seem too intuitive at first, but with a little bit of knowledge, well, it's elementary. Blade Armor Ninja is a rank 4 Wind Warrior monster with 2200 attack and 1000 defense, requiring 2 level 4 warrior monsters as material. And once per turn, you can detach a material from this card to target a ninja monster you control, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Now, you've probably heard of Cowboy for game, but Blade Armor Ninja was its less popular, but no less important, partner. Cowboy can close out games in main phase 2 if life points are low enough, but if you can clear the way, Blade Armor can swing in for 4400 damage, because its 2 attacks can be taken directly. Now, Blade was less splashable because you needed warriors for the summon, but if you can meet those requirements, then you're set to ruin your opponent's day, 2 turns in a row if necessary. And if you pair them with any bigger ninjas, then you can leverage this effect into even more damage, showing just what you can do when you live by the blade. Number 12, Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja is a rank 5 Earth Warrior monster with 2400 attack and 1700 defense, requiring any 2 level 5 monsters as material. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card, and this turn, face-up ninja monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. That's pretty stellar. Giving your whole team immunity to destruction for the turn is just the thing to weather a rough offensive push and punish your opponent on the crackback. And because it's a quick effect, you can keep the protection stored up for when you really need it. It's a massive shame that more of our deck can't modulate into level 5s, because otherwise this would make it into every build of ninjas we could ever make. Maybe we'll get more Earth Armor Ninja type monsters, but for now I'm gonna just be stuck here feeling very concerned why this ninja's shadow is crimson. Are we seeing the devious work of the evil King Stan? Look, sometimes I make these jokes for myself. It's not my fault you haven't played Okage. Part 4, Twilight. Now it's time for another spin-off related theme, this time for Arc V, which I will continue to pronounce this way because it's funny to see you all rage about it in the comments. These new cards were piloted by the brothers Sun and Moon Shadow, and while there are some pendulum cards here, it's not so much that we have to consider swinging into action as a major part of our game plan. But don't mistake that for not being impactful, because some of these cards are bangers. Twilight Ninja Shingetsu is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1500 attack and 100 defense, and monsters your opponent controls can't target face-up ninja monsters you control for attacks, except this one, and your opponent can't target face-up ninjas you control with card effects, except this one. And since it says this one and not except Shingetsu, this means 2 Shingetsus make an attack and target lock for all of your ninjas. And if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the grave, you can add a ninja monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of itself. Now, you're not immune to non-targeting removal, Dark Hole and Raigeki still break your board, but in that case you get more searches, so it's not all bad. Combine that with its advantageous level and typing, and you've got 4 arms! What is going on here? What unholy union of anime and flesh is this? Twilight Ninja Nichiren, the Chunin, is a level 6 Dark Warrior monster with 2300 attack and 1000 defense, and once per turn during either player's turn, you can discard a ninja card, then activate one of these effects. This turn, your ninja monsters and Ninjitsu Art cards can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, or one of your ninja monsters gain 1000 attack until the end of the turn. Wow, that's better protection than Crimson Shadow. Protecting your Ninjitsu Art cards is pretty good, but if you're all locked down on that end, giving a ninja an extra 1000 attack is pretty spicy. Heck, it boosts Nichiren to 3300, which can run over a lot of monsters, not to mention what an extra 1000 would do for Blade Armor Ninja. But there is something just so comical about seeing this enormous beefy ninja holding an itty-bitty dagger. Twilight Ninja Getsuga, the Shogun, is a level 8 Dark Warrior monster with 2000 attack and 3000 defense, but you can use 1 tribute for its tribute summon by tributing a ninja monster. If this card is in attack position, you can target 2 ninja monsters in your grave, except a copy of itself, and on resolution, change this card to defense position, and if you do, special summon those monsters. So Getsuga is as easy to tribute for as a level 5 or 6 monster, and revive any 2 ninjas you want every turn, and gets to stay in defense position while doing so, forcing your opponent to have more than 3000 attack to get over it. This is kind of like a more tame Senior Silver Ninja, but that means more Senior Silver Ninja effects. So if you don't have access to the former, you have the latter, and they'll have you covered with 3 arms, might I add. What is going on with these things? Twilight Ninja Kagen is where we get into our pendulum monsters. It's a level 1 Dark Warrior monster with 0 attack and 2000 defense with a scale of 10. However, while it's a pendulum spell, you can only pendulum summon ninja monsters, and this effect can't be negated. Kinda sucks you can't turbo out any splashed cards, but at least it doesn't lock you into special summoning ninja monsters in general, like Yellow Ninja does. Also, while being a pendulum scale, once per turn, when one of your ninja monsters declares an attack, you can make that monster gain 1000 attack until the end of the damage step, even if this card leaves the field. And as a monster, you can tribute this card, then target a ninja monster you control and give it 800 attack until the end of the turn. Now, this seems like a really cool effect on a repeatably summonable pendulum monster, but without a 0 scale, which we don't inherently have, it's gonna end up stuck in your extra deck. Best to keep this monster as a scale, and then you can give even more attack while also getting to summon out monsters like Getsuga and Nichiren without tributing. So this card gets a 10 from me. It's out of 100, but don't tell Kagen. Twilight Ninja Jogen is a level 7 Dark Warrior Pendulum monster with 2000 attack and 1000 defense with a scale of 1. As a pendulum spell, your ninja monsters deal piercing battle damage, and as a monster, you can reveal a Ninjitsu Art card in your hand to special summon this card from your hand, and also Jogen deals piercing battle damage. So we've got a card that rounds out our scales, is a free summon provided we have an art to show for it, has some pretty decent stats, and is pretty good at keeping the pressure on by dealing damage through defense position monsters. This is enhanced by Kagen, turning the dial up to 3000 so you can deal with even more stubborn blockers to reach your upper limit. See, because Jogen translates to upper limit in Japanese, which is funny because it has the low scale, while Kagen translates to lower limit and it has the high scale. It's actually really funny when you explain. Part 5? Modern. This section will cover all the ninja monsters that were revealed in Darkwing Blast, and here's where things get a little dicey, as we'll be seeing the first ninjas that aren't warriors, at least so far as this video is concerned, so you can't search them with Rhoda like the rest of them. Let's start with Sky Ninja Tabari, a level 1 Earth-Winged Beast monster with 0 attack and defense that can't be destroyed by a battle or card effect the turn it's special summoned or flipped face up. You can send this card from your hand to the grave to special summon a ninja monster from your hand in face up or face down defense position. And during your opponent's main or battle phase, you can fusion summon a ninja fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. You heard right, we've run the gamut of Links, Ixies, and outside pure ninjas, Synchros. And now we're dabbling in some fusion monsters as well. This makes Tabari an excellent candidate for special summoning, as it not only has that fusion summoning ability, its immunity to destruction during the turn it's special summoned makes them a fine blocker. And if you need to get a big ninja out of your hand, or just want to turbo out smaller ones you could get to eventually, Tabari can cover that as well. You could say they're down feather for anything. Insect Ninja Mitsu is a level 2 water insect monster with 200 attack and 2100 defense. And if you control a ninja card or a face down defense position monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, as a quick effect, you can target a face down defense position monster you control, change it to face up defense position, then if the targeted card was a ninja monster except a copy of itself, negate that opponent's activated effect. So on any of your setups, you can toss Mitsu onto the board, and if you have a set ninja monster, their negate is online. This keeps you safe from hand traps when going first, or stifles your opponent's plans, all while being an excellent extender for your Link summons, making Mitsu a great example of Wasp. We always support face downs. Beast Ninja Baku is a level 3 Wind Beast monster with 1500 attack and 600 defense, and if this card is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon it. And if this card is special summoned or flipped face up, you can target a ninja or ninjitsu art card in your grave or face up in your spell and trap zones, except a copy of itself, and return it to the hand. So let's get this out of the way first. We love this dog. Wonderful doggo. We will kill for them. Next, its effects are pretty good. We don't have very many cards that search ninjas, but we can trigger this off of a special summoned Hanzo or a destroyed Shingetsu. At which point, Baku can bounce your Hanzo back to your hand for another use, or get back that destroyed Shingetsu, or any other ninja or ninjitsu art card you want to get back for a little more value. Is it too on the nose to attribute this effect to playing fetch? Musket Ninja Kagero was a level 4 Fire Warrior monster, been a bit since we had one of those, with 1600 attack and 2000 defense. And if summoned or flipped face up, you can special summon a ninja monster from your hand or grave in face down defense position, except a copy of itself. And when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a ninja card or face down defense position monster you control, and no other cards, while this card is in your grave as a quick effect, you can special summon this card in face down defense position, and if you do, return the targeted card to the hand. This can save your monsters from targeted interaction, anything from Infinite Impermanence to Widow Anchor. And once Kagero gets reflipped, if it gets reflipped, you can bring that bounced monster right back. Unless you are playing a non-ninja monster face down, but other than that, Kagero is really good at playing gun control. No, that is too forced. Delilah, you got anything?
Ooh, yeah, for sure. You know, the field of ninjas is highly competitive, but Kagero can keep up because they have massive musket balls. Shut up, the comments are gonna love it. You know, if this was Bravely Second, they'd make a great ball buster.
Look, when I'm telling you it's time to stop with the puns, you know it's serious.
Screw you!
War Ninja Mei Sen is a level 6 Dark Warrior fusion monster with 2500 attack and 1500 defense, requiring any 2 ninja monsters with different types as material. Which means you will have to use these new ninjas to access Mei Sen, as well as a few monsters we'll be talking about in a bit, and must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from the extra deck by tributing the above monsters. So you don't have to use Tabari's effect, but if you want to summon Mei Sen at spell speed 2, this is certainly an option. While on the field, your ninja monsters can attack directly, and Mei Sen can't be targeted for attacks while you control a face-down defense position monster. And when your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can special summon a ninja monster from your deck in face-up or face-down defense position. Wow, this card is kinda wild. Like, it's fairly easy to summon, has a big body, a little bit of protection, gives you a whole new win condition by letting your ninjas attack directly, and summons more ninjas to join the team. You can summon Hanzo for a search, set up Senior Silver Ninja for a huge summon spam, or get some negation online with Mitsu. So, with all these benefits, I think I finally found out what war is good for. Part 6, Dragon. Now, these sections haven't necessarily been in chronological order because some of these dragon ninjas have been around for a while, but they do tie in with our next subject, Ninjitsu Arts, very closely, so we're moving them here so they're closer together. These ninjas also started the trend of branching out from traditional warrior typing to chart their own paths. Oh, and a little trivia side note, these ninjas represent the 4 auspicious beasts, representing the 4 cardinal directions, with an extra special beast at the center of that compass. But not only that, they're also evolved, or retrained depending on how you look at it, versions of the colored ninjas we've already talked about. Good to see their training is paying off. Blue Dragon Ninja is a level 5 Water Sea Serpent monster with 2100 attack and 1200 defense, and is the updated version of Armed Ninja. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can discard a ninja monster and a Ninjitsu Art card to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and during this turn, that monster's effects are negated, also that monster can't attack. It's a steep cost, having to not only discard 2 cards, but 2 very specific cards, but sometimes you just have to turn a monster off before it gets out of hand. But in a meta that values value above all else, this ninja has a ching long road ahead of itself to reach that benchmark. Red Dragon Ninja is a level 6 Fire-Winged Beast monster with 2400 attack and 1200 defense, and is the updated version of Crimson Ninja. When this card is summoned, you can banish a ninja or ninjitsu art card from your grave, then target a set card your opponent controls. You reveal it, then return it to either the top or bottom of the deck, and your opponent cannot activate the targeted card in response to this effect's activation. Now that's pretty cool. It uses material already in your grave, so you don't have to waste any real cards, and it's one of the most efficient means of removal ever, putting a card back into the deck. And to top it all off, it's like Night Beam. The targeted card can't be activated in response, which I love. This makes for a great summon off of any of our ninja summoning effects, and if things get down to the wire, an effect like this is an easy way to take the game, set, match. Black Dragon Ninja is a level 7 Dark Beast monster with 2800 attack and 1600 defense, and is the updated version of Strike Ninja, which might seem like it breaks the color theming, but its OCG name is Swift Strike Black Ninja, so we're still on track here. Oh, and on a related note, Armed Ninja's OCG name is Blue Ninja. Black Dragon Ninja can't be special summoned except by the effect of a ninja monster or ninjitsu art card, and once per turn as a quick effect, you can send a ninja monster and ninjitsu art card from your hand and or face up on your field to the grave, then target a monster on the field and banish it. And if this face-up card leaves the field, you special summon as many monsters banished by this effect as possible to their owner's field. This is another really expensive effect, but at least you can use cards on your field as well. The special summoning restriction does hurt a bit, but the more ninjas we can get that can special summon, the easier it is to get this card back. Now, the interesting part is that Black Dragon Ninja's removal effect looks like a temporary banish, kinda like Farfa, but actually is 2 very different effects. And since the monsters are special summoned back to the field, not returned, it will trigger any on-special summoning effect. So while you can use this as a way to clear monsters to make ways for attacks, you can also banish your own monsters to dodge interaction or to prep a new trigger for their effect. Heck, since Black Dragon Ninja can target itself, you can pull the trigger on this at any time, as its effect to special summon will trigger off of banishing itself, which I think is a neat trick. A very flavorful recreation of Strike Ninja's original effect. It's a shame that this effect is so expensive because I could totally see this getting very out of control if you could pull this off more easily. Can we get like a Fire Formation Eagle monster here? But for now, I guess you're just gonna have to deal with having a gigantic monster that can occasionally help you turtle up. White Dragon Ninja is a level 7 light dragon monster with 2700 attack and 1200 defense, and is the updated version of White Ninja. This card can't be special summoned except by a Ninjitsu artifact, so it's a bit more strict, but while on the field, spell and trap cards you control can't be destroyed by card effects. This is pretty valuable, as several Ninjitsu art cards kinda work like Call of the Haunted. If they leave the field, the associated monster goes kaput. White Dragon Ninja can help prevent that, as well as keep your other spells and traps safe. This makes for an incredible combo with a card like Safe Zone, as both cards will protect each other, and can also protect any floodgates you want to play. Everyone's favorite kind of card. So fun. Yellow Dragon Ninja is a level 7 winged dinosaur monster with 3000 attack and 1500 defense, and is the updated version of Yellow Ninja. It also can't be special summoned except by the effect of a ninja monster or a ninjitsu art card, and once per turn as a quick effect, you can send a ninja monster and a ninjitsu art card from your hand and or face up field to the grave, then target up to 2 spells and traps on the field and destroy them. So it turns a ninja and a ninjitsu art into twisters? Okay, I guess that's worth locking this card into a difficult summoning condition for... This is really what they thought ninjas needed, huh? I don't have a joke here. This card is basically doing my job for me. Let's go on to the next section. Part 7, Ninjitsu Arts. Okay, we've seen the ninjas, now it's time to cover their secret techniques. And the first is probably one of the most interesting in the bunch. Armor Ninjitsu Art of Alchemy, a normal spell that can only be activated if you control a Ninjitsu Art card. It destroys as many other Ninjitsu Art cards as possible, then draws you 2 cards. Now, if you only have a single other Ninjitsu Art card, this is equivalent to the archetypal discard 1 to draw 2 effect. But if you have any more than 1, then you're losing out on card economy to get those fresh draws. Sometimes that's not so bad though, as some ninjitsu arts can end up being dead in the water. But in most cases, you have to be super careful with how you execute this. And honestly, if we didn't have another card down the line that could help control that variance, I don't even know if we'd want to be playing this. But, in its defense, nothing is ever certain when it comes to turning paper into gold. The science of alchemy is more art than science, after all. Novel Ninjitsu Art Book is a quick play spell that you can activate if your opponent controls a monster, and it sets 1 Ninjitsu Art spell or trap card and or ninja monster to your field, one from your deck and the other from your grave, except a copy of itself. And if this set card is sent to the grave, you can target a face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. So in retaliation, it's a Book of Moon, which is actually pretty legit. And hey, since this is a ninjitsu art card, this can summon all your dragon ninjas, and it can help fulfill their requirements of sending a ninja and a ninjitsu art card to the grave. Though having those monsters be set to the field means you'll either want to play this at the end of your opponent's turn, or get a ninja that does really good things while face down. And if you play your cards right, you can actually activate this, then send it to the grave to activate your dragon ninja effects. Kinda like how people will activate a normal or quick play spell card before chaining forbidden droplets, so you can send that activated card to the grave for a little bit of extra value. So it's not a novel idea, but given the name of the card, I guess it is. Ninjitsu Art Notebook is a continuous spell, and once per turn, you can send a ninja monster from your hand to the grave to set a Ninjitsu Art spell or trap card directly from your deck, except another copy of itself. This allows you to tutor out your more situational ninjitsu arts so you can play less of them and help avoid bricks, while still having them on demand, on top of helping you see all the ninjitsu arts you always want to be seeing more often. However, one of the more nifty interactions is with alchemy. By playing Notebook, you can discard a ninja, replace it with alchemy, and then flip up alchemy immediately, drawing you 2 cards, effectively cycling you 2 cards like a destiny draw. You even get an extra ninja in your grave for your troubles. Notebook is a neat cheat sheet that can't be beat when you're trying to be stealthy and a little discreet. Ninjitsu Art Equipment Kanamugura is an equip spell that gives the equipped monster 500 attack and is also treated as a ninja monster. You can also banish a ninja from your grave to target a card on the field and destroy it. Great removal. And if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can target one of your banished ninja monsters and either add it to your hand or special summon it in face down defense position. Banishing isn't really a big focus for ninjas, though we do have a few, including this card. So you can banish a ninja you want to get back, and once Kagamugura is off the field, you can get that monster right back. And that removal isn't too bad either. Being able to hit anything with a spell effect means you can knock out pesky floodgates while getting around monster negation. The 500 attack boost is also pretty nice, but don't overlook the fact that this makes whatever it's equipped to a ninja, because that's going to be very useful very soon. Here's a hint, Kanamugura can be equipped to any monster, including your opponents. I guess the tools really do make the ninja, whether they like it or not. Hidden Village of Ninjitsu Arts is a field spell, and if a ninja is summoned to your field, you can target a ninja monster or a ninjitsu art card in your grave and add it to your hand. But you can't activate cards or the effects of cards with that name for the rest of the turn. Real good if you summon a ninja on your opponent's turn, a little less so on your own. And if any number of ninja monsters or ninjitsu art cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish a ninja from your grave instead. This card is kind of a mixed bag. It doesn't really do anything on its own, and requires you to commit monsters on board to benefit. It does give you a consistent stream of cards back, but you can't use them immediately. That's not too bad when grabbing back your ninjitsu art trap cards, but for anything else, the effects are frozen for a turn. Though it is nice that it doesn't prohibit you from summoning those monsters. So any monsters that have effects that don't activate, like White Dragon Ninja, are still completely online. The protection is nice, though I feel in the face of modern removal tools, it is a bit lacking. But despite all my complaints, this is probably one of my favorite field spells ever, and a lot of that comes down to the art. It doesn't feel forced to set up some kind of dynamic action scene. It's quiet, like the monsters this card supports. It's a peaceful landscape bathed in moonlight, but danger could be hidden behind every rock, every tree branch. And, personal note, the watchtower here always brings me back to Princess Mononoke. A lot of cards in this game make my heart ache that I don't know who made it, and Hidden Village of Ninjitsu Arts is really near the top of that list. Armor Ninjitsu Art of Freezing is a continuous trap card that can be activated when an opponent's monster declares an attack if you control a ninja monster. You flip this card face up, negate that attack, and end the battle phase. Seems a little weird that flipping it up is part of the cost of activation, because all trap cards do that, but it's to show that that effect can't be used while it's already face up on the field. But that doesn't mean it's used up, because while this card is face up on the field and you control a ninja monster, your opponent's monsters can't change their battle positions. Okay, that's a little less useful, especially if the opposing lineup is already in attack position and raring to go, but it's not without merit. Using effects that flip down your opponent's monsters, they'll effectively be Floodgate Trap Hold, which is kinda neat. Thankfully, our ninjas will be able to move freely in this chilly environment, as their uniforms are cozy, snug, and have interior heating. Armor Ninjitsu Art of Rust Mist is a continuous trap card, and when any number of monsters are special summoned to your opponent's field, if you control a ninja monster, you have the current attack of those special summoned monsters permanently. What's nutty about this is that this isn't a continuous effect. If Rust Mist goes away once the effect is applied, the debuff does not, and it has no expiration date. This can take the wind out of most deck sails, as even 3000 attack behemoths are reduced to 1500 attack babies that you would see in the normal summon department. So no matter how much they try to get back into the game, there's no shaking off this rust. Ninjitsu Art of Decoy is a continuous trap card that has you targeting a ninja monster you control, and it can't be destroyed by battle. Oh no, Sasuke, why'd you have to go and do this to Ancient Tree of Enlightenment? What's with that goofy walk cycle? At this point, you might as well be Naruto running. Oh, this card give battle destruction immunity, but not worth it. Let's move on to the next section. Ninjitsu Art of Duplication is a continuous trap card that tributes a ninja monster to special summon any number of ninja monsters from your deck in face-up attack or face-down defense position, with combined levels equal to or less than the level of the attributed monster. And if this card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. Ooh, this can get really nasty really quickly. On the low end, you can effectively trade one ninja out for another, like turning one level 4 into another. Like the card art shows, getting Hanzo off this is pretty rad. But with your higher level ninjas like Getsuga, you can get 2 level 4s, or a variety of the smaller leveled ninjas that are coming out in Darkwing Blast. and if you're able to land Crimson Shadow Ninja onto the board, you can protect your monsters from being destroyed if duplication leaves the field. So it just goes to show that quantity really is better than quality. Ninjitsu Art of Fallen Leaves Dance is a continuous trap card that's activated by targeting a ninja monster or a face-down defense position monster on either side of the field. On resolution, you tribute the target, and if you do, special summon any ninja monster from your deck. And when this card leaves the field, you send that monster to the grave. And if this card is face up, you can target a Ninjitsu Art continuous spell or trap card in your spell and trap zone and return it to the hand. However, you can only use one effect per turn and only once per turn. Now this is some pretty sweet removal. If your opponent sets a monster, you can nab it and turn it into your own ninja. But what if your opponent doesn't set any monsters, or doesn't have any ninjas? Well, that's where Ninjitsu Art Equipment Kanamugura comes in. Give this to an opponent's monster, maybe get a little removal out of it, then activate Fallen Leaves Dance on it, because now it's a ninja. This also does a fantastic job of recycling Ninjitsu Art cards. You can pick up a freezing that's already negated an attack to use it again, you can bounce a notebook to get another use out of its soft once per turn, or even Fallen Leaves Dance to use its effect again, though you will lose the monster you summoned in the process. And in general, you can just bounce Ninjitsu Art cards that are about to get blasted by your opponent so you can save them. So if your arts are in danger, just leaf it to this card. Ninjitsu Art of Shadow Sealing is a continuous trap card that tributes a ninja monster to target a monster your opponent controls and banish that target. While that card is banished, its monster zone can't be used, and when this card leaves the field, return the card banished by this effect to the same monster card zone in the same position. So this is a nifty way to clear a monster off the board as long as you have Shadow Sealing, and with cards like Hidden Village and White Dragon Ninja keeping your Ninjitsu Arts safe, that monster may be stuck in the banished pile for a while. However, when researching, I found out that this card has some very wild interactions with the extra monster zone. This might change if Shadow Sealing ever gets a post-link reprint, but as sources say now, this does in fact lock out the EMZ while that monster is banished. But since no monsters are occupying it, either player can use the remaining EMZ if available. But the funny part is when Shadow Sealing leaves the field. The monster has to be returned to the zone it was in, but monsters can only be put into the EMZ from the extra deck, not from the banished zone. So when it attempts to return, it just goes to the grave. So just a funny little piece of trivia in case you have to deal with a problem monster, and you need a funny way to seal the deal. Ninjitsu Art of Transformation is a continuous trap card that you can activate by tributing a face-up ninja monster. You special summon a beast, winged beast, or insect monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to the level the tributed monster had on the field plus 3. And when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. Now, all the ninjas that are beast, winged beasts, and insects didn't exist when this card was printed, so it might be why they ended up printing ninjas in those types. The effect itself, though, is probably a reference to the idea that ninjas could transform into a variety of animals. So now it can be used to tech in a whole bunch of random monsters that fit the bill. On top of summoning things like your Dragon Ninjas, you could get Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys to Heavy Storm your opponent, or Mist Valley Apex Avian for negation. And the fun part is, like with duplications, this card can be activated during the battle phase after you've attacked with your ninjas, to get even more damage in. So if there's a game you wouldn't be able to close out in time otherwise, this card can transform that situation into a win. Ninjitsu Art of Super Transformation is a continuous trap card that you activate by targeting a ninja monster you control and a face-up monster your opponent controls. Send them to the grave, then special summon a dragon, dinosaur, or sea serpent monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to the combined original level of the sent monsters. And when this card leaves the field, banish that monster. Now this is some primo removal. It's like Super Poly, but it can be responded to. Currently, we have Dragon Ninjas that fulfill any of those type requirements, so we don't have to go outside of our comfort zone for the payoffs, but there are a ton of monsters in those particular types that can do some real damage. For Sea Serpents, Ocean Dragon Lord Kiryushin is a great way to clear a board. Just make sure you run an Umi card that you can search with its own effect to make its Gozen Match style effect live. Then you can summon any other monster and link off the Dragon Lord for the Water Charmer Link monster to clear the lock. Dragons are, well, I mean, it's dragons, take your pick, and for dinosaurs, you can get Pankratops, because that's still legal to play at 1, for some reason. And if that ever falls through, you can always get Scrap Raptor to sate that combo itch. Hey, what kind of monsters do you like summoning off this card? I'm super curious to find out. Ninjitsu Art of Mirage Transformation is a continuous trap card that targets a ninja monster you control, then targets a monster in your opponent's grave, and on resolution, you special summon that monster to your field, and it's treated as a ninja monster while this card is face up on the field, and when this card leaves the field, send that monster to the grave. So, because it makes a monster a ninja, like with our Ninjitsu Art equipment, it can benefit from Mysen's direct attack effect. It also means that the monster you summon can make for good fusion material for Mysen, provided your opponent is running any non-warriors. This keeps the card from being more situational than it already is, because relying on your opponent to have a grave stocked with useful monsters isn't the most consistent of game plans. However, if they do so happen to drop a big monster in their grave you can snap it up, then you'll be able to swing the game's tempo back in your favor. No problem. I just hope that Saizo has proper control over those snakes, because I do not think we have any anti-venom for giant ghost vipers. Alright, that's all the ninja cards, but what do we do with them? Well, that's going to depend largely on the parts of the theme you want to keep and which you want to shave off. Cards like Hanzo, Upstart Golden, and Notebook are probably going to see play in whatever build you make, but from there, you can take the deck in a variety of directions. So what can we play to help those different game plans out? For control, we have a lot of options. Our Ninjitsu Art cards can do anything from negating attacks to debuffing monsters to acting as removal, all at quick effect speed. From that position, we can use Twilight Ninja Getsuga to repeatedly revive ninjas to slowly build up our advantage in striking power until we overwhelm our opponent. They also play well with Book of Moon, now at 3 copies. Fallen Leaves Dance can take out an opponent's set monster, and this quick play spell is an easy way to force that issue. Alternatively, Book of Eclipse can blank an entire field of monsters while you go in for the kill. Pepper in some other useful back row that can be protected by White Dragon Ninja, and you'll have the game locked up in no time. If you want to focus on aggro, we'll want to delve into rank 4 spamming. Getting into play Blade Armor Ninja, Meisen, and any other ninja with 800 or more attack is game, though the Equip spell card added onto Meisen works in place of that additional ninja. Cards like Tabari and Yellow Ninja can get those monsters out of your hand, and the Notebook Alchemy combo can help you cycle through your deck to help find those combo pieces. However, this is very resource intensive and doesn't have a lot of protection. If you want the Meisen OTK, be ready to pivot into a long-term game if your opponent has any answers. As for a silly tech pick, legit, it's penguins. And not just because they have their own ninja monster. Squire is a free summon from your hand when you set a monster, and while the flip-up effect will negate your ninja's effects, it does give you 2 face-up monsters on the field, which you might need. Heck, it can even help you put Penguin Brave onto the board, which is some amazing disruption when used with Penguin Soldier. And that's all I have to say about ninjas. They've been around for a while, and I think the new Dabble support helps give it the focus and tools it needs to compete in today's dueling landscape, though whether or not it's top tier remains to be seen. Between the free summons, negates, pseudo-kaijus, and avalanche of damage, this deck can come out of nowhere to cut your life short. Now, if we could just cut down a little bit on the flashy outfits, then we'll be good. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Are ninjas now the state of the ninjitsu art, or are they going to need to spend a bit more time recentering their chakras? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to show your support, ring that bell so you don't miss an episode, and share this video with someone you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode was brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander, Ashling Waltz, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Avagule, Adams Ajdel, Avi Chali, Cryptic Gamer, Eric, Frankie, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Gloomba 331, Great Big Pillock, Howling Zangetsu, Inblink, Ironic, John Manji, Julius Sneezer, Larakia, Meteornus, Mighty Action X, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, Ruxith Sarani, The Fresh Prince of Con-Air, The Wizard Moose, Tyler Cranston and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders, Bear Sharktopus Studios, Chazghost, Corbinisms, Cozy Boat 275, Harry, the Ominous Benefactor, Jesus Garcia, Manga Pages, Marion James E. Picata, Nitromo, RGS, Rem T. Bright, Shooting Star 3300, Star-Lord 777, and the Legendary Raven, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. I'm only able to continue doing this thanks to the support of these lovely people. So if you'd like to be a part of these credits, as well as help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, please check out my YouTube membership or Patreon links in the description to see if I have anything you'd like on offer. And if you'd like to see another archetype that's steeped in Japanese culture, check out this video I did covering Flower Cardians. And if you want to see two Yu-Gi tubers going at it, check out Noah Jenk and I's latest series, Progression Polls, where your voice shapes the format. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.